Darer Kumanik ba ouvintes no telespectador na vemos sintonizar a frequência 92.9 MHz no YouTube RTPN. Darer ne tu agenda na vemos amsimu e segunda-feira 25 de maio de 2026. Tu agenda kataxe e a sessão abertura ba boas-vindas para presidente do grupo AIPA TIMOR-LESTE. No mostra o discurso se Sua Excelência Dr. Chen Widia, secretário-geral da AIPA. No mostra discurso a abertura para Sua Excelência Presidente do Parlamento Nacional Timor-Leste, Doutora Maria Fernanda Lai, foi nessa sessão de fotografias. Mas bem, tudo que não vemos kami simu, se parte protocolo niang katak secretário-geral AIPA se hotel mai parlamento ia tukualo 5 minuto hat no lima no secretário-geral AIPA mai parlamento nacional Timor-Leste nessa visita cortesia da Sua Excelência Maria Fernanda Lai, presidente do Parlamento Nacional e a gabinete. Foi nem retuxia 5 minuto tol nulo início sessão se executivo briefing ida os membros do Parlamento Nacional, o Secretariado do Parlamento Nacional Timor-Leste e a Sala Plenário Parlamento Nacional, presidido pela atuação hino nacional Timor-Leste, Pátria no hino nacional ASEAN. Foi nema que tama ba a agenda sessão abertura, nessa a forçaitiona que se bem-vindo a sua palavra o presidente do grupo AIPA no nosso discurso o doutor Chen Widia, secretário-geral AIPA, no nosso discurso abertura para o presidente do Parlamento Nacional Timor-Leste. Ouvintes no telespectadores, que está sessão, frequência 92.9 MHz no YouTube RTPN, também a cleartang a cerimônia nesse hahu.
Estão, neste momento, a chegar à sala de plenário do Parlamento Nacional o secretário-geral da ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembleia AIPA, Sua Excelência Dr. Chen Widia, e Sua Excelência a Presidente do Parlamento Nacional da República Democrática de Timor-Leste, distinta deputada Maria Fernanda Lai. Pedimos a todos para se erguerem. Continuemos de pé para a intenção. Continuemos de pé para a entoação do hino nacional da República Democrática de Timor-Leste, Pátria, Pátria, e hino nacional da Ásia. Pedimos a todos para se acomodarem. Convidamos a presidente do Grupo Nacional da Ásia Interparlamentar Assembleia, AIPA Timor-Leste, senhora deputada Maria Goromari Baleto, para dar palavras de boas-vindas.
Your Excellency, Ms. Maria Fernanda Lai, President of the National Parliament of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Your Excellency, Dr. Cem Muidia, Secretary General of the ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, AIPA, distinguished representatives of the AIPA Secretariat, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure and honor on behalf of the National Group of AIPA of the National Parliament of Timor-Leste to warmly welcome His Excellency Dr. Cem Muidia, Secretary General of ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, to Timor-Leste and to our national parliament. Your visit reflects the growing and constructive partnership between Timor-Leste and AIPA, as well as our shared commitment to strengthening parliamentary cooperation and regional solidarity within Southeast Asia. Allow me also to express our sincere appreciation to the AIPA Secretariat for its continued support, friendship, and constructive engagement with Timor-Leste throughout our journey towards ASEAN integration and regional parliamentary participation. For Timor-Leste, engagement with AIPA has been both meaningful and strategic. Since becoming an observer Parliament of AIPA in 2013, for many years, the National Parliament of Timor-Leste worked alongside ASEAN as an observer. We listen, we learn, and we prepare. Timor-Leste has actively participated in the parliamentary dialogue and regional cooperation initiatives, helping strengthen our institutional preparedness and deepen our understanding of ASEAN parliamentary process. Therefore, today, you are here with us. On this occasion, I invite all members National Group AIPA of Timor-Leste. Please stand up. Eu convido membros AIPA Sira, al favor, Belhamri. Obrigada, thank you. Please sit down. The establishment of the AIPA Timor-Leste National Group by our national parliamentary earlier this year represents another important milestone in enhancing Timor-Leste parliamentary engagement with the region and demonstrates our commitment to contributing positively to ASEAN parliamentary community. We are also encouraged by the continued support expressed by AIPA members parliament for Timor-Leste integration into ASEAN and future participation as full members of AIPA following ASEAN accession in October 2025. Today's program is particularly meaningful because it not only strengthens institutional cooperation between AIPA and the National Parliament, but also includes engagement with students and young people at the National University of Timor-Leste this afternoon. This reflects our collective commitment to bringing ASEAN closer to younger generation of Timor-Leste and encouraging greater public awareness of regional cooperation and parliamentary diplomacy. Your Excellencies, Timor-Leste remains fully committed to continuing our constructive engagement with AIPA and to contributing actively and responsibly to regional parliamentary cooperation in these years ahead. We look forward to working closely with AIPA members' parliament in promoting a peaceful, inclusive, and people-centered ASEAN community. Once again, welcome to Timor-Leste and welcome to the National Parliament. Thank you. Obrigado, Barak.
Convidamos agora Sua Excelência, o Secretário-Geral da AIPA, Dr. Chen Widia, para fazer o seu discurso.
Your Excellency, Madame Maria Fernanda Le, the Honorable Speaker of the National Parliament of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished officials, ladies and gentlemen, bon dia, wa ita hotu, good morning. It is my distinct privilege and my personal honor to be able to join Your Excellency, Madam Speaker, and the honorable members of Parliament gathered here today at the National Parliament of Timor-Leste for this executive briefing. As I've just told you, Madam Speaker, last year I have had the honor in a different capacity, back then as Senator and Chairman of the Foreign Affairs Commission in the Senate of Cambodia, to accompany Samdaj Akya Mahasna Padai Hun Sen, President of the Senate, in this August Salt of Parliament. Thanks to Your Excellency. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Allow me to convey my highest appreciation to Her Excellency, Madam Speaker Maria Fernanda Le, the honorable members of the National Parliament and the Secretariat of the National Parliament for the warm hospitality, the excellent arrangements, and the close and cordial cooperation extended to the AIPA Secretariat delegation. Today's executive briefing is a historical and proud achievement of Timor-Leste in her long-standing journey and engagement with ASEAN and with AIPA. Since obtaining observer status in 2013, more than a decade ago, the National Parliament of Timor-Leste has consistently demonstrated strong interest, active participation, and constructive engagement towards deeper parliamentary cooperation with the ASEAN family. Over the past 13 years, Timor-Leste has steadily strengthened her presence within AIPA through continued dialogue, mutual understanding, and a sustained commitment to regional cooperation. This journey has been shaped not only by Timor-Leste's institutional capacity building and aspiration to contribute meaningfully to a peaceful, inclusive, and people-centered ASEAN community, but also by AIPA's sustained efforts in fostering closer engagement with Timor-Leste. In recent years, particularly following Timor-Leste's announcement as an observer to ASEAN with view of full membership In November 2022 in Phnom Penh, AIPA has consistently invited Timor-Leste to observe its meetings and participate in its activities, reflecting a growing spirit of mutual engagement and shared commitment to regional community building. This year, the Parliament of Timor-Leste has already participated at least 4 activities of AIPA since January. So thank you very much. Your Excellency, Madam Speaker, honorable parliamentarians, as Timor-Leste prepares herself to become the 11th member parliament of AIPA at the upcoming 47th AIPA General Assembly in Manila, this executive briefing serves as an important platform to further strengthen understanding of AIPA's institutional framework, parliamentary mechanisms, deliberative processes, and the responsibilities that come with full membership. AIPA is more than a parliamentary institution. It is a platform for dialogue, cooperation, and collective responsibility among ASEAN legislatures in advancing peace, stability, the rule of law, accountability, the people we represent, equity, governance, inclusive growth, and people-centered regional cooperation in the same spirit which has been embodied in the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, which marks its 50th anniversary this year. As I used to say, ASEAN serves 11 member states and governments, but we, the parliamentarians, AIPA, we serve 680 million people. So our accountability duty is extremely high. We are responsible to the people, we serve the people, we have accountability duty, including in forging peace, security, stability, and ensuring shared prosperity among our people. At a time when our region continues to navigate complex geopolitical, economic, and social challenges, parliamentary diplomacy remains essential in strengthening mutual trust, reinforcing ASEAN centrality, and ensuring that cooperation in our region and beyond continues to respond to the aspirations of our people. And that's also what I have underlined to Your Excellency, Madam Speaker, that we have to revisit the legal instruments within our hands. We are the parliaments. We not only enact law, but we also are responsible to monitor the implementation of law, including international law. And when we speak about ASEAN, we have also to revisit the Treaty on Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia and its guiding principles, as well as the ASEAN Charter. In this regard, the participation of Timor-Leste as the 11th member parliament of AIPA carries profound historical and institutional significance for our parliamentary community. It enriches the ASEAN family and our Assembly of Parliaments. It also translates the continued evolution of AIPA as a more inclusive and representative regional parliamentary assembly. Timor-Leste's experience, perspectives, and steadfast commitment to regional cooperation will no doubt further enrich parliamentary deliberations within AIPA and contribute significantly towards a more innerly resilient within ASEAN and outward-looking to the world, innovative, dynamic, and people-centered ASEAN community where peace is essential and prosperity shared. Your Excellency, Madam President, honorable parliamentarians, ladies and gentlemen, our engagement today also serves to facilitate open discussions and constructive exchanges between the AIPA Secretariat, which I represent today, and members of the National Parliament of Timor-Leste. I would highly encourage you, honorable members of Parliament, to actively share your views, perspectives, and questions so that this session might further strengthen our mutual understanding on AIPA's practices, processes, and parliamentary mechanisms. The AIPA Secretariat and myself remain fully committed to support Timor-Leste in this important and historic journey. With that in mind, may I wish today's executive briefing fruitful and successful deliberations. Thank you for your kind attention.
Convidamos respeitosamente Sua Excelência, Presidente do Parlamento Nacional da República Democrática de Timor-Leste, distinta deputada Maria Fernanda Lai, para fazer o seu discurso e, ao mesmo tempo, a abertura da sessão de Executive Briefing para todos os membros do Parlamento Nacional de Timor-Leste.
Sua Excelência, Senhor Secretário-Geral da AIPA, Dr. Shem Widia, Senhor Vice-Ministro dos Assuntos Parlamentares que está neste momento entre nós, Excelências distintos deputados e toda a audiência. Parlamento na vanguarda de um crescimento inclusivo e de uma ASEAN sustentável. Não é normal começar uma intervenção dando título à mesma, mas para quem fica claro o âmbito da minha comunicação hoje aqui, é os parlamentos na vanguarda de um crescimento inclusivo e de uma ASEAN sustentável. Feito que está o enquadramento, Excelências, Timor-Leste é o membro mais jovem da ASEAN e aprendi na vida, como na política, que o mais jovem na sala tem duas escolhas. A primeira, ficar em silêncio por cortesia, respeito e reconhecimento daquilo que não sabe. A segunda, falar quando lhe é dada a palavra. Dado que a palavra me foi dada, escolho falar. Há uma pergunta que acredito que devemos colocar no centro desta conversa, mesmo antes de falarmos de quadros de cooperação, antes de falarmos da legislação, antes de falarmos de mecanismo de trabalho, parlamento conjunto. Crescimento inclusivo para quem? O crescimento é fácil de medir. Os economistas e especialistas em finanças públicas usam o PIB. O volume de comércio, as infraestruturas e os quilómetros de estrada construídos, tudo mesurável ou podemos medir. Tudo com a possibilidade de ser convertido em números e percentagens. Mas o crescimento inclusivo coloca uma pergunta muito difícil, que não se mede em números. A questão não é o quanto foi construído, mas quem ficou de fora enquanto construímos. Não quão depressa crescemos, mas quem ficou para trás enquanto corríamos. Ora, os parlamentos existem precisamente para quem fica para trás. Os governos negociam acordos comerciais, assinam memorandos de entendimentos, etc. Mas somos nós nesta sala, quem regressa ao seu município e enfrenta o pescador cujas águas foram sobreexploradas por frotas de países mais desenvolvidos, o agricultor cuja terra foi expropriada para uma estrada que nunca vai usar, a mulher cuja voz não foi consultada. Em nenhuma das legislações que cuidadosamente ou não desenhamos, o jovem que é obrigado a emigrar para conseguir meios de subsistência. São eles que querem saber o que é crescimento, o que é inclusivo e o que é sustentável. Para o pescador, o agricultor, a mulher, o jovem, é dolorosamente fácil a resposta se o nosso crescimento, o crescimento da ASEAN, não está a chegar até eles, não é inclusivo. E se não é inclusivo, não é no fim sustentável. Excelências, Timor-Leste sabe algo sobre sustentabilidade que aprendemos de forma mais difícil. Construímos o nosso Estado a partir das ruínas de uma ocupação. Construímos instituições onde não havia nenhuma, leis onde havia silêncio, tribunais onde havia apenas força. E aprendemos que o que se constrói sem o povo não dura. Aprendemos que a reconciliação imposta não é reconciliação, que a paz, assinado no topo, mas não sentida na base, não é paz, é uma ilusão. É por isso que o nosso povo, o nosso governo, o nosso Parlamento escolheu construir pontes, não como metáfora, mas como prática com a Indonésia. Não apagamos a história, escolhemos transformá-la. Quando inauguramos uma ponte em Dili, com o nome de um presidente indonésio, estávamos a dizer algo deliberado para todos os que quiseram ouvir, que os povos de ambos os lados de uma história podem decidir estar unidos em vez de divididos. Para nós, é isso que é o inclusivo e na realidade, não a ausência da diferença, mas a decisão de construir o melhor que temos sobre ela. Excelências, distintos deputados, os parlamentos têm 3 instrumentos que nenhuma outra instituição possui da mesma forma. Temos o poder de legislar, de transformar a vontade política em realidade vinculativa, de transformar os compromissos em direitos dos cidadãos. Temos o poder de fiscalizar, de perguntar, em nome de quem nos elegeu, se o crescimento que celebramos está a chegar aos lugares e às pessoas a quem prometeu chegar. E temos o poder da voz de trazer para esta conversa regional perspectivas que a diplomacia bilateral, pela sua natureza, tende a suavizar. O G7+ ensinou-nos isso. Estados pequenos e frágeis, sentados juntos, falando juntos, encontram uma voz que nenhuma tinha sozinho, uma força que só a união consegue. A dimensão parlamentar da ASEAN, a nossa presença coletiva não é uma cortesia, é democracia. E uma ASEAN sustentável é uma ASEAN democrática, construída por assembleias que incluam as mulheres, que incluam as comunidades rurais, que incluam as margens, não como um apêndice de representação, mas como uma fonte de sabedoria. Para terminar, a ASEAN está a mudar, a região está a mudar. Os desafios que enfrentamos, as alterações climáticas, a desigualdade, a pressão demográfica, a concentração acelerada do poder digital estão a mudar mais depressa do que as nossas instituições. Os parlamentos, têm de mudar com eles. Ou melhor, os parlamentos têm de liderar essas mudanças. É isso que significa estar na vanguarda. Deixo-vos com um pensamento. Quando os nossos líderes regressam das cimeiras, falam do que foi acordado. Quando nós regressamos dos nossos parlamentos, temos de falar do que foi concretizado. A distância entre essas duas coisas, o que foi acordado e o que foi concretizado, é onde o crescimento inclusivo vive ou morre. É o nosso trabalho, o vosso, o meu, o de todos nós, encurtar esta distância. Muitíssimo obrigado. Thank you so much.
Convidamos respeitosamente a Presidente do Parlamento Nacional, Deputada Maria Fernanda Lai, o Secretário-Geral da AIPA, Dr. Chen Widia, e os delegadas, a Presidente do Grupo Nacional da AIPA, Timor-Leste, Deputada Maria Gorumari Barreto, distintos deputados e distintas deputadas para a sessão de fotografia em conjunto. Após a sessão de fotografia, convidamos a todos participantes para uma pausa para café com a duração de 15 minutos. Obrigada.
Ouvintes no telespectador Rádio e Televisão Parlamento Nacional, a mesma que sintoniza a frequência 92.9 MHz no YouTube RTPN. E a sessão abertura está tendo discurso se presidente do grupo, no nosso se presidente do Parlamento Nacional. E foi nesse tema a pausa para café. E pausa para café eu ita sei a apresentação para briefing, executivo briefing. Na mesma que se a apresentação do secretariado AIPA, com a visão geral, estrutura institucional da AIPA, na história relação AIPA com Timor-Leste. Foi a apresentação do secretariado AIPA com as reuniões do AIPA. E a agenda da tolo é a apresentação do secretário AIPA com os projetos, iniciativas AIPA. Foi a sessão perguntas, não respostas. E a sessão de encerramento, se o discurso de encerramento, se a Sua Excelência Maria Gormali Barreto, presidente do Grupo Nacional AIPA Timor-Leste, no Parlamento Membro Timor-Leste. Foi idane se remata a sessão da ICUS. Ouvintes no telespectador Rádio e Televisão Parlamento Nacional, a minha carga até informa kata o secretário-geral da Assembleia Parlamentar ASEAN, Dr. Chen Nuidia, Nehusi Camboja, assume cargo nessa liderança secretário-geral no sede de Jakarta, Indonésia, o mandato de 2026 a 2028. Timor-Leste sai membro AIPA oficialmente em 2025. Molok sai membro, Timor-Leste participa em reunião AIPA no estatuto observador e tempo barak nilarang. E AIPA no centro de comunicação e formação entre parlamentos membros, nemaka organismo idane halau nia knar. Dia ouvintes no telespectador Rádio e Televisão Parlamento Nacional, continue a frequência 92.9 MHz no YouTube RTPN. Também depois de pausa para café, se continua a sessão para apresentações briefing executivo.
Have the simultaneous interpreter. So the channel 1 is for English and channel 2 is for Portuguese. For the Tetun. Thank you.
Excellency, Madam Speaker, your honorables, with your permission, I would like to ask our three panelists to give you presentations. The first one is made by our Director for Committees, Mr. Sandi Nusa Hamdani. He would present the overview of AIPA's institutional framework and history of AIPA Timor-Leste relations. The second presentation would be made by Ms. Yasriani Alma, Technical Officer of Committees on AIPA meetings. And the third presentation will be made by Ms. Raina Sarang, Community Relations on AIPA's projects and initiatives. So please, Sandy, proceed.
Thank you very much, Sergeant. Your Excellencies, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished parliamentary officials, and also staff, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, bon dia. My name is Sandy, the Director of Committees of the AIPA Secretariat, and this is my distinct honor to be with the National Parliament of Timor-Leste for this executive briefing. And this is very special for me and also for my colleague, because this is our first visit to Timor-Leste. Thank you very much. And as mentioned by SecGen, the first presentation today aims to provide an overview of AIPA's institutional structure, mechanisms, priorities, and parliamentary processes, particularly as Timor-Leste prepares for deeper engagements with the ASEAN interparliamentary community in the regions. Can we have the slides first? All right. The second slide. And to better understand what is AIPA and what is AIPA's role today, it is important to briefly look at the history of both ASEAN and also AIPA. Following the establishment of ASEAN on 8 August 1967, 10 years later, in 1977, the ASEAN Interparliamentary Organization, or AIPO, it was established as a platform that served as the legislative arm of ASEAN, bringing together the national parliaments from ASEAN member states. And over the decades, ASEAN evolved from a regional associations into a rule-based community, while AIPA simultaneously expanded its institutional role to support ASEAN integrations. And in 2007, AIPO was officially transformed into ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, or AIPA, through the adoptions of the AIPA statutes. And subsequently, following the entry into force of the ASEAN Charter in 2008, AIPA was formally recognized as the sole parliamentary entities associated with ASEAN. And since the transformations of AIPA, AIPA has continued to strengthen regional initiatives. AIPA contributes to advancing ASEAN goals and priorities. And more importantly, AIPA provides a unique platform where parliamentarians can exchange views, share best practices, and collectively address emerging regional challenges. And there are two main institutional frameworks of AIPA. The first one is the AIPA statutes, and the second one is the AIPA Strategic Plan 2023-2030. And the AIPA statutes serve as the primary governing document of AIPA, outlining the objectives, membership, institutional mechanisms, and other main aspects of the Assembly. Meanwhile, the AIPA Strategic Plan 2023-2030 serve as a AIPA long-term roadmap in guiding its priorities, activities, and also institutional development. And copies of both documents are available on the AIPA Secretariat website and may also be accessed through the QR code provided on the screen. Under the AIPA statutes, the next slide, AIPA aims to encourage understanding, cooperations, and also close relations among ASEAN national parliaments and other parliamentary bodies. AIPA also supports the realizations of ASEAN goals by promoting parliamentary measures and legislative cooperations. And also in line with our strategic plan, 2023-2030, the AIPA's vision is to contribute towards a united, inclusive, peaceful, resilient, and sustainable ASEAN community, where all people can live with dignity and prosperity. Meanwhile, the missions of AIPA focuses on fostering interparliamentary cooperations, promoting multilateralism, and formulating enabling parliamentary measures that support ASEAN integrations. These principles guides AIPA's activities, initiatives, and also institutional priorities across all areas of cooperations. This slide, this is to show members that currently AIPA consists of the 10 national parliaments of ASEAN member states, and the Assembly operates on the principles of consultation, consensus, mutual respect, and regional solidarity. And Timor-Leste's engagements with ASEAN and also AIPA represent an important milestone not only for Timor-Leste, but also for the broader ASEAN regions. And following Timor-Leste accessions to ASEAN last October, the applications for permanent membership in AIPA is expected to be considered during the upcoming General Assembly in November 2026 in Manila. Beyond ASEAN, AIPA also maintains strong engagements with our observer parliaments and also our development partners from across the world. Currently, AIPA has 26 observer parliaments consisting of both national and supranational parliaments, 12 from Asia, 6 from Europe, 3 from Oceania, 2 from Africa, 2 from North America, and 1 from South America. And this partnership helps strengthen parliamentary diplomacy, international cooperations, and also knowledge exchange. And for considerations at this upcoming General Assembly in November, AIPA has received 2 observer applications for observer status from Serbia and also Spain. And in addition, Romania and South Africa have also expressed interest in applying for observer status in AIPA. In addition to observer parliaments, AIPA also works closely with various development partners, international organizations, academic institutions, and regional bodies, including AREA, ICAP, UNOCT, and etc. Such cooperations contribute to capacity building, technical support, and the implementations of regional initiatives. And we believe that through this partnership, AIPA is able to expand its outreach and engagements to strengthen collaborations on emerging issues such as digital transformations, climate change, food security, sustainable development, women and youth representations in the parliaments, in the governments, and also in governance. And this slide, this is the illustrating AIPA's organizational structure and governance framework. At the centers of AIPA structure is the General Assembly, which serves as the highest decision-making body in AIPA. And supporting the General Assembly is the Executive Committee, which oversees the institutional matters and coordinates the Assembly's work. And AIPA also consists of 6 standing committees focusing on political matters, economic matters, social matters, young women matters, and also organizational dimensions. AIPA standing committees form the substantive backbone of the organizational work. Each standing committee focuses on a specific thematic area and deliberates on draft resolutions submitted by our member parliaments. In addition, AIPA may also establish ad hoc committee, study committees, and also working group to address specific issues in the regions. And the AIPA Secretariat, led by the Secretary General of AIPA, headquartered in Jakarta, serve as the administrative and coordinating body supporting the member parliaments and also supporting in coordinating all activities of AIPA. Equally important are the AIPA National Secretariats within each AIPA member parliament, which facilitate coordinations at the national level, especially during the hosting of the AIPA meetings. And together, the structure ensures continuity, institutional coordinations, and also effective implementations of AIPA's activities and the implementations of the AIPA resolutions. As I mentioned before, that one of the key outputs is the adoption of resolutions. And since the establishment of AIPA, AIPA has adopted more than 1,000 resolutions. So since 1977, we have 113 resolutions adopted by the General Assembly. These resolutions reflect the collective aspirations and commitments of our member parliaments. And these AIPA resolutions are non-binding. However, they carry significant political value and provide guidance for parliamentary actions and regional cooperations. Increasingly, AIPA has also strengthened efforts to monitor the support of the implementations of resolutions through various follow-up mechanisms and initiatives, including through the AIPA Caucus, which this year will be hosted by Indonesia. Next slide, we highlight on the AIPA key priorities. This is derived from the most frequently discussed topic in the resolutions and also the Strategic Plan 2023-2030. And over the years, AIPA discussions have increasingly focused on issues that directly affect ASEAN stability, resilience, and sustainable development. And among the major priorities are regional peace and security, economic integrations, digital transformations, climate change, food security, public health, youth empowerment, women's leadership, and sustainable development. And AIPA has also placed growing emphasis on emerging issues such as artificial intelligence, renewable energy, cybersecurity, green economy, and inclusive growth. And these priorities reflect ASEAN's evolving regional agenda as well as the collective concerns of our member parliaments. Now we move on to the growing relations and engagements between AIPA and the National Parliament of Timor-Leste over the years. In 2013, the National Parliament of Timor-Leste was officially granted observer status of AIPA. This marked an important milestone in Timor-Leste's parliamentary engagements with the ASEAN region. And through this observer status, Timor-Leste began participating in AIPA General Assemblies and related meetings. The granting of observer status also reflects AIPA's recognition of Timor-Leste's aspirations to deepen engagements with the ASEAN regions and the regional parliamentary cooperations. And since then, Timor-Leste has maintained active participations and engagements within AIPA platforms and activities. And another important milestone took place in 2022 when Timor-Leste was officially granted observer status in ASEAN, received in principle approval for ASEAN membership. And following this development, Timor-Leste's engagements within ASEAN and also AIPA became increasingly active and substantive. And following the granting of observer status in ASEAN, the National Parliament of Timor-Leste began actively participating in all AIPA meetings as listed in the screen. These participations includes attendance at the AIPA General Assemblies, standing committee meetings, subcommittee meetings, ad hoc committee meetings, as well as the AIPA ASEAN meetings. However, beyond participation as an observer, the National Parliament of Timor-Leste has increasingly contributed to the discussions and regional parliamentary exchanges on issues of common interest. And through this involvement, Timor-Leste has been able to observe AIPA's parliamentary processes, exchange views with AIPA member parliaments, and strengthened regional parliamentary networks. And in this regard, we highly appreciate the Timor-Leste's active and constructive participations through these engagements. Thank you very much. And for the next slide, we are highlighting the journey of the National Parliament of Timor-Leste towards full membership in AIPA. But before that, allow me to recall that the 47th ASEAN Summit, which marks the historic developments of Timor-Leste's formal entry into the ASEAN family. And for AIPA, Timor-Leste accessions to ASEAN also carries significant importance, as it paves the way for the National Parliament of Timor-Leste to become part of the ASEAN parliamentary community under AIPA. And now, what is the status of Timor-Leste's applications in AIPA? We have been through the 3 processes. We have received the formal submissions from the National Parliament of Timor-Leste last August in 2025 to become full members of Parliament of AIPA and AIPA Secretariat. We have notified our member parliaments, and during last year meeting of the Executive Committee, our member parliaments have discussed about these applications. And then following Timor-Leste's accessions to ASEAN and in line with Article 7 of the AIPA Statutes, the upcoming meeting of the Executive Committee in November, they will deliberate on draft resolutions on the admissions of Timor-Leste's applications to AIPA. And as reflected in the slides number 4, 5, and 6, these are the pending processes, including the deliberations at the Executive Committee, and also the adoptions of the resolutions by the General Assembly during the first plenary sessions, and then there will be an acceptance speech by Madam President during the first plenary sessions. And once admitted, Timor-Leste would become AIPA's newest member parliaments and the first expansions of AIPA membership in more than a decade. This would mark a historic development, of course, for both AIPA and also Timor-Leste. We believe, as mentioned by Sekjen earlier, Timor-Leste's participations will further enrich the parliamentary dialogue within ASEAN through its unique experiences, perspectives, and contributions. And this is my last slide. Full membership of AIPA comes with several institutional responsibilities and commitments. First, member parliaments are expected to actively participate in AIPA meetings and initiatives, including the General Assembly, standing committees, and regional activities. For the General Assembly itself, according to the AIPA Statute, at least each AIPA member parliament shall compose of 15 member parliaments to be part of the AIPA General Assembly. Because during the General Assembly, there will be more than 30 plus meetings, so each member parliament can participate in each meeting. And the second one, member parliament will take turns hosting AIPA meetings during their presidency, including the AIPA General Assembly, standing committee meetings, subcommittee meetings, ad hoc meetings, and other working group meetings. And the third, member parliaments are required to establish an AIPA National Secretariat to coordinate all AIPA-related matters and engagements. So each year, AIPA Secretariat will closely coordinate with the National Secretariat of each hosting member parliaments and other AIPA National Secretariats from other member parliaments. And fourth, member parliaments are also required to fulfill the annual mandatory contributions to AIPA, which currently consists of $40,000 annual contribution and $5,000 contributions to the AIPA Special Fund. These responsibilities reflect the collective commitment of member parliaments towards strengthening regional parliamentary cooperations and support AIPA's institutional work. With that being said, I close my presentations. Thank you very much. Obrigado. Next presentation, Sajan. Alma. Yes.
Your Excellency, President of the National Parliament of Timor-Leste, honorable members of Parliament, distinguished parliamentary officials and staff, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Bon dia. My name is Alma, Technical Officer of Committees of the AIPA Secretariat. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to be here for this executive briefing. Following the previous presentation, allow me to continue with the second part of today's executive briefing, which will present on an overview of AIPA meetings. This presentation aims to provide information on the meeting structures and processes of AIPA in support of Timor-Leste's ongoing journey toward full-fledged AIPA membership and its continued active engagement in AIPA meetings ahead. Next slide, please. Okay, before we explore each meeting in detail, allow me to present the broader landscape of AIPA meetings. We categorize AIPA's meeting into several groups to provide a clearer overview of the key activities undertaken throughout the year. First, under the AIPA General Assembly and related meetings, there are more than 30 meetings, including meeting of the Executive Committee, meetings of the standing committees, dialogues with AIPA Observer Parliaments, meeting with AIPA National Secretariats and Secretaries of AIPA Observer Parliaments, and other related meetings. Second, we convene subcommittee meetings, including the Coordinating Committee meeting of Women Parliamentarians of AIPA, or WAIPA, and also the Consultative meeting of Young Parliamentarians of AIPA, or YPA. Third, we also organize other meetings, such as the AIPA Caucus, which serve as AIPA's monitoring mechanism, and AIPA COD, which focuses on drug-related matters. Lastly, we also conduct meetings with ASEAN, which includes the ASEAN-AIPA Leaders Interface and the AIPA-ASEAN hearing. These engagements ensure continuous coordination and help strengthen the synergy between AIPA and ASEAN. We will now walk through each of these categories in detail, beginning with the organization's principal annual meeting and the highest deliberative forum, which is the AIPA General Assembly. The AIPA General Assembly is the highest policy-making body of AIPA, and it convenes at least once every year, hosted rotationally in alphabetical order by AIPA member parliaments, bringing together speakers, presidents of parliament, parliamentarians, parliamentary officials, observer delegations, and development partners. During the General Assembly, member parliaments deliberate on resolutions, regional priorities, institutional matters, and parliamentary cooperation initiatives. The General Assembly also serves as an important platform for parliamentarians to conduct diplomacy by consensus building. Beyond formal meetings, the Assembly also creates opportunities for bilateral engagements, dialogue with observer parliaments, and interaction with ASEAN sectoral bodies. And most importantly, the themes of AIPA General Assembly are aligned closely with the ASEAN chairmanship priorities to ensure coherence between parliamentary and regional agendas. The key output of the AIPA General Assembly include the report of the General Assembly meeting, which also consists of reports of its related meetings, namely the Executive Committee meeting, dialogue with observers, AIPA ASEAN hearing, and meetings of the standing committees. The second outputs are the AIPA resolutions, which are collectively approved in the standing committee meetings and get adopted by the Assembly. It reflects commitment by AIPA member parliaments. And also the last output is AIPA Joint Communique, which is a statement issued following the meetings. And looking ahead, the upcoming 47th AIPA General Assembly is tentatively scheduled from 16 to 22nd November in Manila, the Philippines, under the theme Parliament Securing a Peaceful, Prosperous, and People-Centered ASEAN. We very much look forward to the participation of the National Parliament of Timor-Leste in Manila. Next slide, please. The General Assembly is a series of more than 30 meetings and sessions held over the Assembly Week. As an observer parliament, participation is limited to open sessions of the Assembly, while certain meetings are held exclusively among AIPA member parliaments. Upon becoming a full member parliament, Timor-Leste will actively participate in all agenda items of the General Assembly, including the Executive Committee meeting, the dialogue with all AIPA contributing observer parliaments, meeting of the 6 standing committees, the AIPA ASEAN hearing, and also the meeting of joint communique. As mentioned previously, in terms of delegation composition, to attend all those meetings, each AIPA member parliaments may send a delegation of no more than 15 members, headed by the Speaker or a designated representative, with at least 3 member parliaments to be women parliamentarians. Besides the agenda listed on the slide, it is also worth noting that the host parliament may also initiate additional initiatives on the sideline of the General Assembly. For example, the WAIPA Women Political Leaders Forum. These initiatives will be further elaborated in the next presentation on AIPA's projects and initiatives. Next one. As part of the AIPA General Assembly, 6 standing committees convened simultaneously to deliberate on draft resolutions proposed by member parliaments prior to the General Assembly. Upon submission, the draft resolutions are circulated to AIPA member parliaments for initial inputs, and the AIPA Secretariat will consolidate the inputs and circulate again for discussion during the meeting. During the meeting, each standing committee reviews and deliberates on the draft resolutions paragraph by paragraph. The AIPA member parliaments proposing the draft resolution may present the draft, and other member parliaments may provide further inputs or comments to the draft resolution. Once the draft resolution is agreed upon by consensus of the committee, it is referred to the second plenary for formal adoption by the General Assembly. We now turn to subcommittee meetings. As mentioned previously, we have 2 subcommittee meetings. These meetings are convened prior to the General Assembly. The first subcommittee meetings we have is the Coordinating Committee meeting of Women Parliamentarians of AIPA. It is the steering committee on women's issues within AIPA. This committee serves as the formal communication channel of AIPA, and according to its rules of procedures, it is mandatory to meet at least once prior to the General Assembly. The meeting itself aims to prepare the agenda for the AIPA meeting and to monitor the extent to which the decisions, resolutions, and recommendations of the main body, which is the Standing Committee on AIPA, have been implemented. The functions of the Coordinating Committee of AIPA also include organizing and participating in conferences, meetings, and workshops relevant to women's parliamentary engagement, as well as sourcing funding to support AIPA's activities. The key agenda of AIPA meetings include a thematic presentation and intervention, followed by a structured dialogue on women's political participation and leadership. This meeting is guided by the rules of procedure of women parliamentarians of AIPA, and brings together AIPA member parliaments and may also include participation of representatives from ASEAN sectoral bodies, UN bodies, civil society organizations, and also governments. Most recently, the 5th meeting of the Coordinating Committee of AIPA was convened last month on 27 April via video conference under the theme Advancing Gender Transformative Parliaments Toward a Future-Ready and Inclusive ASEAN Community. We are also pleased to acknowledge the participation of the delegation of the National Parliament of Timor-Leste, led by Her Excellency Maria Gurumali in this meeting. Alongside AIPA, AIPA also convenes the consultative meetings of Young Parliamentarians of AIPA, or YPA. This meeting aims to prepare the agenda for the Standing Committee meeting of YPA within the General Assembly, as well as to discuss and deliberate youth-related matters of regional significance. The agenda usually features a thematic presentation and intervention, as well as input from relevant ASEAN-led mechanisms and institutions. This meeting is also guided by the rules of procedures of Young Parliamentarians of AIPA, and brings together AIPA member parliaments under the age of 45, along with experts, ASEAN sectoral bodies, UN representatives, and guests. Most recently, the 3rd consultative meeting of YPA was held also last month on 28th of April under the theme ASEAN Youth, Strengthening Solidarity and Empowering Future-Ready Leaders. Likewise, we are also pleased to acknowledge the participation of Timor-Leste, led by Honorable Mariano Malik in this meeting. We now turn to other meetings convened by AIPA. Among these, we have AIPA Caucus. AIPA Caucus was established as AIPA's monitoring mechanism to track the implementation of the adopted AIPA resolutions, ensuring that commitments made, recommendations generated have been carried through into concrete actions at the national level. AIPA Caucus was established in 2007, and the first meeting was conducted in 2009 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Beyond monitoring, the caucus also served as a platform for member parliaments to exchange experiences and dialogue, advance the harmonization of laws across ASEAN, and develop common legislative initiatives. Each meeting brings together parliamentarians, experts, and representatives from the ASEAN Secretariat and other relevant institutions or organizations through a working group's discussion on related thematic topic, which would bring more effective outcomes. The main agenda of this meeting consists of presentation of country implementation reports and also deliberation on chosen thematic topic. We are pleased to recall Timor-Leste's participation in the 16th AIPA caucus held in Phnom Penh, Cambodia last year, where we were honored by the presence of Her Excellency President Maria Fernanda Le. This year, the 17th AIPA caucus will be held on 22nd July, hosted by the House Representative of Indonesia via video conference, under the theme, The Role of Parliament in Strengthening ASEAN Centrality in Navigating Complex Global Challenges. Timor-Leste will certainly be invited once again. The next meeting is AIPA-COT, or Advisory Council on Dangerous Drugs. The history of AIPA-COT can be traced back to 2001, with the adoption of a resolution approving the establishment of IFOCOM to combat the drug menace. The first IFOCOM meeting was convened in Hanoi in 2002, and IFOCOM was later transformed into AIPA-COT in 2017. This transformation aimed to address the limited effectiveness of IFOCOM and to enhance efforts toward achieving a drug-free ASEAN community. Since its transformation, AIPA-COT has served as the primary platform for AIPA member parliaments in the fight against the drug menace. Its functions include enhancing coordination and facilitating information exchange, compiling and evaluating member parliament legislation on drugs, monitoring implementation, consulting with scientific institutions and experts, coordinating with ASEAN-led mechanism, and advocating awareness on drug-related issues. The outputs from the meeting of AIPA-COT are the report of the meeting and a draft resolution on the AIPA-COT team prepared by the host parliament. And the upcoming 9th meeting of AIPA-COT is scheduled for 24th of June to be held via video conference as well. And it is worth noting that AIPA-COT is currently undergoing a deliberate and significant transformation. And this ongoing process spans from 2024 through to 2026 to expand AIPA-COT's mandate beyond drug-related matters toward enhanced cooperation on transnational crimes more broadly. This transformation journey began in August 2024 at the 7th meeting of AIPA-COT, where member parliaments recognize that ASEAN's transnational crime agenda has expanded well beyond drugs. That discussions generated general support to explore a possible transformation of AIPA-COT, so that AIPA remains aligned with ASEAN priorities and also emerging threats. Continue to October 2024, meetings of the Executive and Organizational Committee of the 45th AIPA General Assembly also discussed this matter. And building on that momentum, the proposal moved into AIPA's formal decision-making track. And at that stage, the AIPA Secretariat was mandated to prepare the terms of reference for a study committee to structure the assessment and develop recommendations, including for future mandate and title. And later on, at the 8th meeting of AIPA-COT, member parliaments turned the mandate into concrete action by sponsoring and finalizing the draft resolution establishing the study committee. And at the 46th AIPA General Assembly, the Organizational Committee adopted a resolution to establish the transformation of AIPA-COT. And in January this year, the first meeting of the Study Committee on Transformation of AIPA-COT for Enhanced Cooperation on Transnational Crimes was also convened. AIPA member parliaments assessed the urgency, regional alignment, and long-term institutional relevance of the proposed transformation. Following this meeting, the AIPA Secretariat circulated a proposed draft amendment to the terms of reference of the AIPA Advisory Council on Dangerous Drugs and Related Crimes for member parliaments feedback. And in next month, we will convene the 9th meeting of AIPA COT, which the draft amendment will be further deliberated. And at the upcoming 47 AIPA General Assembly, the proposed transformation is expected to be tabled for discussion. Speaking of a study committee meeting, the executive committee has the power and function to propose to establish a standing committee, study, ad hoc, or subcommittee of the standing committee if necessary. We now turn to AIPA ASEAN-related meetings, which serve as an engagement platform between legislative and executive bodies. The first meeting is the ASEAN-AIPA Leaders Interface. It is the highest level dialogue between ASEAN leaders and AIPA leaders and representatives conducted during the ASEAN Summit. This mechanism was established in 2009 during Thailand's chairmanship of ASEAN and presidency of AIPA. The ASEAN-AIPA Leaders Interface serves as a platform for leaders from both institutions to foster mutual understanding and advance joint recommendations on critical regional issues of common interest. The meeting itself consists of 2 agenda items. The first one is a preparatory session to finalize the main document of the interface, which is the AIPA message. And second one, the interface itself, where AIPA President has the opportunity to convey the AIPA message directly to the ASEAN leaders. It must be noted, however, that due to the absence of a formal instrument governing this platform, the convening of this meeting is not mandatory and depends on the availability and agreement of the ASEAN Summit host. Can you speak slowly? Okay, so this year, the upcoming 15th ASEAN-AIPA Leaders Interface is expected to take place in November at the sideline of the 14th ASEAN Summit. Also, another important platform that provides a more substantive and institutionalized platform for engagement between AIPA and ASEAN is the AIPA ASEAN hearing. It is organized as a sideline meeting during the AIPA General Assembly. It brings together AIPA member parliaments, representatives from the ASEAN Secretariat, and representatives from the governments that hold the chairmanship of ASEAN. The AIPA ASEAN hearings serve as a two-way platform where ASEAN can provide updates on its priorities and key regional agendas. And also, AIPA can share feedback and report on how its member parliaments are supporting the implementation of the ASEAN priorities, including the ASEAN Community Vision. AIPA and ASEAN can, of course, exchange views on effective cooperative measures to strengthen parliamentary oversight functions. This meeting also enables ASEAN to receive AIPA parliamentarians' feedback on the implementation of the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and beyond. This mechanism is also guided by established guidelines, which we refer to in the conduct of the meeting. Before we close, I would like to highlight the most recent AIPA engagement with ASEAN, which is the 10th Forum of Entities Associated with ASEAN, convened under the theme Navigating Our Future Together. It was held on 12th and 13 May 2026 at the ASEAN headquarters in Jakarta. This forum brought together ASEAN-associated entities, including AIPA, providing a platform to exchange ideas, align efforts with the ASEAN Community Vision 2045, and explores ways to deepen regional cooperation. We are also pleased to note the participation of the chairperson of the Young Parliamentarians of AIPA and also the president of the AIPA Timor-Leste National Group, Her Excellency Maria Gorumali, as the speakers in this forum. And on the sidelines of this forum, the AIPA Secretariat also conducted the second AIPA Connect. It is a flagship speed mentoring session where we were honored to have the chairperson of YPA and also Her Excellency Maria Gorumali to participate in the AIPA Connects as mentors. This slide concludes our presentation on the overview of AIPA meetings. Obrigado.
Your Excellency, honorable members of parliaments, distinguished parliamentary officials and staff, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, bon dia. My name is Raina Saerang. I'm the Community Relations Officer from the AIPA Secretariat, and it is my pleasure to continue our presentations and present these sessions on AIPA project and also initiative. Through these presentations, can you speak slowly? So, through these presentations, we would now like to highlight another important side of AIPA, how regional discussions and parliamentary resolutions are translated into practical programs, partnership, and engagements initiative. So, over the years, AIPA has continued to evolve beyond its traditional role as a platform for parliamentary dialogue. And today, AIPA is placing greater emphasis on implementations, outreach, and capacity building initiatives across the region. And this is increasingly important because many of these challenges facing ASEAN today require not only discussion, but also practical cooperations and collective action. So as Timor-Leste continues its closer engagements within ASEAN and AIPA, we also hope these sessions will provide a clearer picture of the opportunities for cooperations, participations, and institutional collaborations available within the AIPA framework. Next slide, please. So allow me to begin with one of AIPA major initiatives under the Women Parliamentarians of AIPA, or we call it WAIPA. So this is the WAIPA Plan of Action and Implementation Framework on promoting women's political participations and leadership across ASEAN, also known as the WPPL framework. So it serves as a long-term regional framework to strengthen women's political participation, leadership, and representations across ASEAN. So this framework also guides cooperations among AIPA member parliaments and supports implementations within the national and also regional contexts. Through this initiative, AIPA aims to encourage more inclusive governance and strengthen the role of women in political decision-making. As reflected on the screen, women's political participation has consistently been one of the key priorities discussed within the WAIPA. Although the progress continues across ASEAN, women parliamentarians in the region still represent less than 1/3 of parliamentary representations. And because of this, WAIPA recognized the importance of moving beyond discussion and developing a more practical and long-term implementation framework. So the development process began during Indonesia AIPA presidency in 2023, and during the 44th AIPA General Assembly, WAIPA adopted a resolution on enhancing ASEAN resilience through women leadership and gender-responsive parliaments. This resolution then mandated the AIPA Secretariat to begin developing a regional implementation framework. And following this mandate, and with the support from the UN Women, USAID, the Canada Fund for Local Initiative, AIPA organized a series of workshops and consultations together with member parliaments, including members from the Timor-Leste. So the first workshop was held in Jakarta, and then it followed by another workshop in Vientiane in Lao PDR. These consultations and workshops allow member parliaments to exchange national experiences, challenges, and also best practices relating to the women political participations and leadership. Followed by that, the framework was later finalized through an online review meeting before being officially adopted during the 45th AIPA General Assembly in Lao PDR. Next slide. So as reflected on the screen, the framework consists of 3 pillars, 20 sub-pillars, and 84 action lines. So the framework covers several important areas, including women, peace, and security agenda, gender-responsive budgeting, violence against women in politics, women's economic empowerment, and also inclusive governance. The action lines are designed to support implementations both regionally and within the member parliaments. Therefore, the framework also serves as a practical guide to support parliamentary action and institutional strengthening. And we also believe that Timor-Leste future participations in AIPA will bring valuable perspective and also experiences into these regional efforts, especially considering Timor-Leste notable representations of women parliamentarians and its continued commitments towards inclusive political participation. Another important initiative developed by AIPA is the ASEAN Responsible Investment in Food, Agriculture, and Forestry Parliamentary Implementation Framework 2030. So for many ASEAN countries, agriculture is closely linked to livelihoods, poverty reduction, rural development, and also national resilience. At the same time, investment in food and agriculture must remain sustainable, inclusive, and responsible. And recognizing the important role of parliamentarians in supporting this effort, AIPA began working together with the Food and Agriculture Organizations, or FAO, and the International Institute for Sustainable Development. The objective of this project is to strengthen parliamentary support through legislations, oversight, budgeting, and also policy development relating to responsible investment. So the ASEAN RAI guidelines themselves were originally adopted by the ASEAN Ministers on Agriculture and Forestry in 2018. However, again, as mentioned, AIPA recognized that successful implementations will also require strong parliamentary support. And because of this, AIPA together with FAO and IASD began developing parliamentary focus initiative relating to the ASEAN RAI. One of the early initiatives was development of a practical handbook for ASEAN parliamentarians. Following this, the 44th AIPA General Assembly adopted a resolution encouraging the applications of the ASEAN among AIPA member parliaments. AIPA then again organized a series of regional workshops in Laos PDR and Indonesia involving parliamentarians, parliamentary staff, ministries, experts, and civil society organizations. And these workshops help translate broader and regional commitments into a more practical parliamentary action and national implementation efforts. The ASEAN RAI Parliamentary Implementation Framework was eventually adopted during the 45th AIPA General Assembly. The framework itself consists of 5 pillars and 23 activities. The activities focus on areas such as food security, agriculture technology, responsible investment, sustainable agriculture, and economic growth. So similar to the WPPL framework, implementations is carried out both regionally and within member parliaments. So moving on to another project and initiative, which is our growing priority within AIPA, climate change. So Southeast Asia is considered one of the regions most vulnerable to climate change impact. And because of this, climate change has become an increasingly important issue discussed within AIPA. Over the years, AIPA has adopted numerous climate-related resolutions covering renewable energy, disaster risk reductions, sustainable finance, and environmental protection. Most recently, during the 45th AIPA General Assembly in Malaysia, member parliaments adopted resolutions on enhancing ASEAN carbon trading potential. The resolutions also mandated the AIPA Secretariat to develop climate-related initiatives and parliamentary capacity building programs. And as a follow-up, AIPA initiated the Climate Change Capacity Development Program. So the program itself aims to strengthen the capacity of parliamentarians and parliamentary staff on climate governance and climate-related policy making. The program consists of both regional and national level activities, including workshops, dialogue, and parliamentary engagements. In fact, on the same day of today, one of the national level workshops under this program is currently being conducted in Cambodia. And we are also very pleased that Timor-Leste is planned as one of the countries for future national level activities under this project. So beyond the implementation frameworks and also the capacity building programs, AIPA has also introduced another dialogue and engagements initiative. One of them is the AIPA Tripartite Forum. Today, many regional challenges cannot be addressed by parliamentarians alone. Shared regional issues require cooperations between governments, parliamentarians, and also the business sector. And to support this multi-stakeholders approach, AIPA initiated the Tripartite Forum as a platform for dialogue and exchange. The first AIPA Tripartite Forum was organized in Brunei Darussalam on the sidelines of the AIPA caucus and focused on the digital economy and cyber economy in ASEAN. And following the positive response and strong support from member parliaments, AIPA continued the initiative through the second Tripartite Forum in Malaysia, focusing on renewable energy and regional energy resilience. Moving forward, AIPA plans to continue organizing the forum to strengthen cooperations and encourage more practical and forward-looking policy discussion. So to further support the implementations of the WPPL framework, or Women Political Participations and Leadership Framework, AIPA also initiated the WAIPA Women Political Leaders Forum, or we call it WPLF. So the forum serves as a high-level platform for women parliamentarians, leaders, and stakeholders to exchange experiences and discuss challenges related to the women political participations and leadership. The first WPLF was organized on the sidelines of the 45th AIPA General Assembly in Lao PDR, and we are also very honored that Her Excellency Maria Fernanda Lei from Timor-Leste participated as one of the high-level speakers during the forum. And following the positive engagements and discussion, the WPLF was continued again during Malaysia AIPA presidency. And this year, AIPA also plans to continue organizing the WPLF during the upcoming General Assembly. Moving on, so beyond the implementation frameworks and forums, AIPA has also expanded cooperations on capacity building programs. One example is the joint parliamentary training course organized together with the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism. So the program itself was conducted earlier this year, focused on legislative and policy measures relating to artificial intelligence and new technologies. Importantly, we would like to also highlight that the AIPA Secretariat also frequently receive invitations for capacity building programs from various external partners and organizations. And AIPA normally extends these opportunities to members' parliaments to participate in the trainings, workshops, seminar, or regional dialogue. Therefore, beyond the meeting and resolutions, AIPA member parliaments also can provide an opportunity for parliamentarians and parliamentary staff to strengthen their knowledge and professional capacity on various regional and emerging issues. Now we move to one of AIPA outreach initiative. The first one is the AIPA Roadshow. So the Roadshow is one of the AIPA flagship public engagement programs aimed at bringing AIPA closer to the communities across ASEAN and beyond. Over the years, AIPA observed that while many people are familiar with ASEAN, awareness about AIPA remains relatively limited. This became the main reason why AIPA Secretariat launched the Roadshow initiative in 2023. Initially, the programs focused on introducing AIPA and regional parliamentary cooperations to the public. However, the initiative has gradually evolved into a broader engagement platform that allows communities, students, parliamentarians, and stakeholders to exchange discussions and also participate directly. So since its launch, AIPA has organized more than 20 roadshows across 12 countries and 16 cities, reaching more than 17,000 participants. And today we are also very honored to bring the AIPA Roadshow here to Dili, Timor-Leste for the first time. And we actually highly appreciate the strong support and cooperation from the national parliaments of Timor-Leste in making this initiative possible. Next, we also have another outreach initiative, which is the AIPA Connects. So as mentioned previously by my colleagues, Alma, AIPA Connects is actually an intergenerational dialogue initiative conducted through speed mentoring session. So this initiative was developed because many participants from our outreach programs expressed their interest in having stronger engagement and direct interactions with parliamentarians, leaders, and regional institutions. And this became the inspirations behind the AIPA Connects itself. So this initiative aims to connect communities and emerging leaders, the young leaders, with the experienced leaders coming from parliamentarians, diplomats, experts, and regional stakeholders through direct dialogue and engagement. And on 13 May, AIPA organized the second AIPA Connects on the sideline of the 10th Forum of Entities Associated with ASEAN. And we are very pleased that the program successfully brought together parliamentarians, representatives from the ASEAN Secretariat, ASEAN entities, ASEAN Centers of Excellence, as well as the young leaders from across the regions within one platform for dialogue and engagements. And again, we are also very honored to have Honorable Maria Goromali from Timor-Leste participating as one of the speakers and mentors during the program. Moving on to another important outreach initiative is Model AIPA. So interestingly, this initiative actually began from the youth themselves. Back in 2017, a group of students approached the AIPA Secretariat and asked whether they could organize a simulation of the AIPA General Assembly. From that simple initiative, Model AIPA eventually developed into one of AIPA flagship outreach program. So the programs allows participants to simulate the actual AIPA General Assembly by acting as parliamentarians, debating regional issues and negotiating and also drafting a resolution. Beyond the simulations itself, the programs helps participants to better understand how regional parliamentary diplomacy works in practice. Importantly, the outcomes and recommendations from Model AIPA are now also shared directly with the young parliamentarians of AIPA, just like we did during this third consultative meeting of YPA. So beyond the outreach initiative, AIPA also focus on capacity building through the AIPA attachment programs. So the programs provides an opportunities for participants to work directly at the AIPA Secretariat and gain first-hand experience on how regional parliamentary corporations operates. And over the years, these programs has welcomed young leaders from across ASEAN. And in addition to this, AIPA is also encouraging stronger institutional exchanges with member parliaments through staff exchanges and secondment initiative in the AIPA Secretariat as reflected in our AIPA strategic plan. So moving on to another initiative developed by the AIPA to strengthen public engagements is the AIPA CAS. So the idea behind AIPA CAS was actually quite straightforward. Many important discussions within ASEAN and AIPA are often only heard inside the meeting room. Therefore, AIPA wanted to create a more accessible and relatable platforms where parliamentarians, experts, and stakeholders could share perspectives with wider audiences. This eventually led to the establishment of the AIPA Cast, the official podcast platform of AIPA. So through this, AIPA Cast discuss ASEAN cooperations, parliamentary diplomacy, and regional developments, and emerging issues in a format that is easier for the public to follow. So far, AIPA Cast has produced dozens of episodes involving parliamentarians, ASEAN officials, ambassadors, experts, and development partners. And we are also very honored to have one episode with Her Excellency Maria Fernanda Lei, and also another episode coming soon with Honorable Maria Goromali as a guest of AIPA. Next. So this is my last slide, which is AIPA has also been strengthening its digital transformations and also institutional modernizations efforts. As AIPA's activities and cooperations continue to expand, there is also a growing need for a stronger coordinations, accessibility, and information sharing among the member parliaments and also observers parliaments and relevant stakeholders. And this became one of the reasons why AIPA started developing various digital platforms and knowledge systems. So as reflected on the screens, this initiative includes the AIPA website, the AIPA Lingo, which is our mobile applications that you can download it in your mobile phone, the AIPA Link, our digital law library that connects the ASEAN instruments, the national legislations, and also the AIPA resolutions. And of course, the AIPA resolutions database that you can see all adopted resolutions from the past AIPA General Assembly. So these platforms are designed to improve accessibility and also to support knowledge sharings amongst members' parliaments. With that, I would like to conclude my presentations on AIPA project and initiative. And as we have seen today, AIPA is not only a platform for meetings and resolutions, but also for cooperations, outreach, and capacity buildings across ASEAN. And we are also very encouraged by the close cooperations between the AIPA and the national parliaments of Timor-Leste over the years. And we look forward to strengthening this partnership further in the future. Thank you very much. Obrigada.
Now, with your permission, we come to the Q&A session. So we are receptive to any comments or questions, and we hope that we will be able to answer to you in a satisfactory manner. Please. Please, Honorable Maria Angelina Savimento, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Once again, welcome Dr. Widya to Timor-Leste and the team. And also thank you for the presentation, which is very comprehensive for us to understand the work of the ASEAN Parliament, AIPA, ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly. According to the presentation you have just concluded, my question is about the full membership of Timor-Leste into AIPA. I am aware that there are 3 steps that need to be filled out as from 6 criteria, 3 out of 6 had been concluded by Timor-Leste. And you mentioned that the next General Assembly will be on November 2026 in Manila. According to the statute article number 7, that the admission of the new member will be decided at the General Assembly upon the recommendation of Executive Committee. Has there any other requirements that need to be fulfilled internally by Timor-Leste before the General Assembly decided for Timor-Leste to be a full member of AIPA? My second question is about when I look at the strategic plan of AIPA 2020-2030 particularly on strategic objective number 7, to urge the adoption of parliamentary measures protecting the rights and welfare of the vulnerable and marginalized groups and promote social inclusion, sustainable and healthy environment, that no one is left behind in pursuing economic development goals. My question is, how can AIPA assist Parliament in strengthening social protection for vulnerable groups and promoting Timor-Leste's cultural heritage across ASEAN? On institutional issue, what immediate and high priority steps should be taken by the Parliament, of course with AIPA's support, to build institutional capacity, secure and equal parliamentary voice in ASEAN, proceeding and prepare for hosting the ASEAN Summit. As we all know that in 2029, Timor-Leste will host the ASEAN Summit as presidency. So what are the highest priority steps needs to be taken by Parliament of Timor-Leste in order to lead the presidency in 2029? My last question is, how AIPA perceive the network called ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights, a network of members of parliament and former members of parliament on their work on human rights and democracy, advocacy on human rights and democracy issues, particularly on critical issues, critical regional issues for common interest, as you mentioned earlier in your presentation. For example, Myanmar issues, Rohingya issues, the counterterrorism and transnational crimes that nowadays are became critical issues and concerns of ASEAN, especially how AIPA can proceed with legislations to work on those critical issues that affecting ASEAN peoples overall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for the 3 questions. I would try to answer in a concise manner to you, and I would also leave the possibility for AIPA staff members to add any views that they deem important, because I'm new in my capacity as Secretary General of AIPA, 5 months. First, the preparation for the membership. Timor-Leste has already submitted last year in a letter, I think dated 7th of August, signed by Your Excellency, Madam Speaker, requesting AIPA full membership. And the said letter has already been submitted to AIPA Chair 5 days later on the 12th of August 2025. And it is my firm belief that now it is only a procedural question. It's no more political, it's only procedural. Not even, it's just technicalities. So the procedure would mean that the Executive Committee of AIPA, during the General Assembly in Manila, would have to consider the application by Timor-Leste and submit recommendations with a draft resolution to the General Assembly, and the General Assembly would then consider and adopt the resolution. After that, we would proceed with the accession of Timor-Leste with a formal signing ceremony for accession. First, the AIPA Member Parliament sign, and after they have signed, then, we would then proceed to the change of flag of Timor-Leste from observer to full member. So instead of being at most left, you would be between then Thailand and Timor-Leste before Thailand, so between Singapore and Thailand, the flag of Timor-Leste. And we would then also put a seat according to the alphabetical order of AIPA, so that we would then invite Your Excellency, Madam Speaker, after that to sign the accession to AIPA Parliament. We would then invite you to sit among your peers and to make an acceptance speech. So as you can see, it's all procedural and protocolar. It's nothing difficult for you to fulfill. You have to fulfill all the duties that we have explained to you when you become member, including the financial duty that each AIPA member parliament have to contribute in the first 3 months of the year, of the fiscal year. So basically, January, February, yes, generally speaking. And then you will have the full opportunities to take part in all AIPA activities that we have listed. You know, it sounds difficult when you're new. You have difficulties to digest all the technicalities. But once you become member, you will learn so quickly, and within 6 months, you are already, you know, fit to fully participate and contribute to AIPA and to ASEAN activities. What is most important, of course, is to build up capacity. Very important. First of all, of course, English, because English is the working language of ASEAN. Yes, and it is very important because when we speak one language, it would be very easy to solve any problems when we speak one language. If we speak different languages, we need interpreters, we need translation, it takes time, it costs money and so on. So I think that ASEAN has adopted English as the working language is extremely important, yes. So this is to your first question. To the second question, leaving no one behind, basically, taking care of people. And I fully agree with you that we parliaments, we are different to ASEAN. ASEAN basically consists of 10 member states. From the top, the heads of state and head of government, down to ministers, to some leaders, Director Generals, Directors, Committee of Permanent Representative, the CPLC Permanent Representative, the working groups. Basically 11, because we are 11 member states. But we, Parliament, we are accountable to 680 million people. It's a different dimension. So our accountability status is very high. Very, very high. We parliaments, we have to ensure that ASEAN is governed by the rules of law. This is first thing, rule of law. Second thing, how to harmonize the legislation among ASEAN member states through parliaments. Third, we have to monitor the implementation of law, as I have said beforehand, and it includes international law. So when we speak about international law, we have to look at the legal instruments that govern ASEAN. What are the two key legal instruments that govern ASEAN? First, the TAC, and second, the ASEAN Charter. So we have to ensure that they are up to the task that we are facing, because as you have seen every day now, the challenges have become so big, unprecedented, unpredictable, very complex, very complicated. Therefore, ASEAN has to be proactive in taking decisions in a collective manner. Like now we are trying to act on energy, because now many ASEAN member states are facing emergencies because of energy problems. But we do not replace governments. So we don't try to replicate what the governments are doing, also in terms of social policies, not leaving people behind. It means an education, it means an health system, it means rural development, agriculture, food, and so on. So we do not replicate the governments, but we complement. We are the two sides of ASEAN. ASEAN has two sides. On one side is ASEAN government, represented by the ASEAN Secretariat. On the other side, ASEAN parliaments, represented by AIPA. And the two secretariats, they sit together in one compound in Jakarta. Only two different buildings, but we are in one compound. So we look at the legal side of the issues that we are facing, and we use differently to the governments. We don't use state diplomacy, but we use parliamentary diplomacy. What is parliamentary diplomacy? Parliamentary diplomacy is a very fluid, very flexible diplomacy among parliamentarians and among parliaments, networkings among ASEAN, but also with other parliaments. Like during the AIPA General Assembly, a lot of observer parliaments would take part. So it gives us the opportunity to do many things for women, political leadership, emancipation, and so on, for youth, for climate change, also for food, because we will have also a global parliamentary summit on food. And it would then take place, I think, in Kenya later this year. So parliaments also play a role in food, yes. Climate change, also, as I've said, transnational crimes. We used to deal only with drugs, but now we agree to expand to related crimes, not only drugs, but related crimes. So AIPA is moving, AIPA is developing. On your third question, on the human rights and democracy, Timor-Leste is a very vibrant democratic state, and I have a strong sense of admiration to the existing political system in Timor-Leste, enabling people to voice their positions and to work together peacefully in government and also in parliament. I think that this is the fundament for a society. But you cannot expect that all other states would function like you. So therefore, we have to respect what is existing in other countries, and we also expect from them that they also respect what is existing in Timor-Leste. Number one. Number two, we are not the European Union, we are not the EU. We do not take decisions by majority rules. We take decisions by consensus. So consensus is extremely important in order to keep ASEAN unity within diversity. Despite being diverse, we are unified because we respect each other. Consensus means mutual respect. And we Asians, this is our fundament. We don't allow ourselves that our counterpart would lose face because of us. We try to save the face, we try to save the honor of our counterpart, and try to find solutions that would be amicable and acceptable to all. This is extremely important. We can voice our national positions. I think it is very welcome that Timor-Leste also voices national position, but at the end of the day, we have to learn that we are a family, and a family stays a family, despite that each member has different views. So we have to stay a family. So this is what I would like to say. And we were taught about democracy, about human rights, about how to fight corruption, abuse of power. But unfortunately, sometimes the gurus, they are not perfect. And even guru countries, the largest democracy, the oldest democracy, what they term themselves, you are witnessing an erosion of law. You're witnessing democracy falling apart. This is very sad, but it is true. So therefore, we have to be very alert in order to save our own rice top, pan. Because if we destroy our rice pan, then nothing is left, we have nothing to eat. So we have to keep our region strong, to keep together ASEAN as one family. We try to solve all problems in amicable manner. And I think there are always ways to find solutions. There are always very eminent persons who would be, very attentive and amenable to try to find solutions. Thank you. So now I have another eminent parliamentarians, Honorable Hermenegilda de Costa Laurentina. Please, you had please your question or your comment. Yes, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. Welcome to Timor-Leste, Dr. Chem Vidya with the team. And also, thank you for the great presentation. And once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In Asian political security community and also economic community is really important. And then after the presentation, I hear that I have two questions. The first question is related political security community. How can AIPA, ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, most effectively strengthen Timor-Leste parliamentary capacity to contribute to regional peace, counter-terrorism, and cyber resilience? And the second question is economic community. What target AIPA support can help Timor-Leste align essential legislation with the Asian Economic Community and enable Timorese SME or small and medium enterprises to access regional markets? That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. My agenda as Secretary General of AIPA, maybe because of my life experience and my career as diplomat. I come from a family of diplomats originally. My father was a diplomat, I'm a diplomat, and now my elder son is also a diplomat. We are 3 generations. So my agenda is for peace. And I'm saying so because peace is the most important asset. And we have learned, and I think all people here in front of me, they know what peace is and what non-peace would mean. Because a lot of human life has been lost, a lot of sufferings have been witnessed, and people still remember. So the history of Cambodia, history of Timor-Leste are not very different in terms of suffering, what we went through. So therefore, for us, peace is not in a history book. Peace is every day that we do. We have always to bear in mind that we have to safeguard peace. We have to do everything in order that peace would not be destroyed. Because it is very easy to destroy peace. Like I used to say, you work so hard, so many years, maybe decades, maybe your lifelong, in order to save money and to build a house for your family, your children and grandchildren. But it takes only a second to burn that house and destroy everything what you have built in your life. And when we see in our region and beyond, we see the flames of war. You look at Africa, you look at the Middle East, even you look at the American continent, you look at Europe, you look in your own region, you see challenges to peace. How can be that within our own region, a resort to force, military force, killing peoples, causing internal displacement for up to 500,000 people, coming to territorial occupation, unlawful territorial occupation, unilateral territorial occupation. How can that be in our own region? So therefore, it is a moral obligation, not only a political duty, but a moral obligation for ASEAN, its member states and its member parliaments to work hard hand in hand in order to do everything possible to secure peace, harmony, and prosperity. But without peace, there would be no harmony. Without peace, you can forget about prosperity. Without peace, you can forget about people-centered community, because everything would be turned to ashes. So that's why I stress that we have to relook at the Treaty on Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, signed in 1976. Now we celebrate the 50th anniversary, and also the ASEAN Charter. The TAC has 5 guiding principles, and we are all parliamentarians here. We know that principles in international law is not a pick and choose menu. It's not that I want hamburger, I don't want fish, or I don't want ice cream, I want cake. It's not like that. it's a package. You cannot take one and you deny the other principles because they are all binding. They are compelling legal instruments. So therefore, we have to ensure consistency in the implementation of international law within our ranks. Now the issue raised by one former Foreign Secretary of the Philippines is the possibility to activate Article 14 under Chapter 4 of the TEC. Chapter 4, when you look at the treaty, is about the peaceful settlement of disputes. Article 14 speaks about activation, the establishment of the High Council of the TEC. It is there, but ASEAN never activated. So now the question is, should we ponder, discuss to activate the High Council? And if we activate the High Council, what should we do, in what respect? So, first, the idea is that who would sit in the High Council? The foreign ministers. But the ideas have been shared that the High Council might be assisted by what we say in French, because you're Portuguese, maybe you understand, le Conseil des Sages. It means the Council of Wise Men. Who would be the wise men or the wise women advising the High Council? Eminent persons who have shown that they have contributed to peace and security around the world. Former ministers, very eminent foreign ministers, former foreign ministers, eminent persons, political persons that would then advise the High Council. Another thought is also to strengthen the existing ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, which already exists in Jakarta, but now it's still very modest in terms of performance. So we could also think about how to increase the performance of the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, among a few ideas. So this is very important. And, because we are now become a global village, it means that what is burning next door could come to us very quickly. So if today the Strait of Hormuz is facing serious questions, you cannot preclude that maybe one day the Strait of Malacca could also be subject to something that we do not wish. And we would not wish that our region would be affected by crisis elsewhere. And also we would not like to see interference into our own regional house, interference from outside. So to summarize, what we would like to avoid and what we would like to see is right is might, which means the rule of law. What we would like to avoid is might is right. Because if might is right, it means the big take all. And Timor-Leste is a small country, Cambodia is a small country, Singapore is a small country. We are all proponents of right is might and not might is right. So I think that we agree on this very important point. Yes. So your second question was about
how to help Timor-Leste.
The economic function is more the competence of the governments. It's more the competence. You can, the power of the parliaments, you have it in your hands, is the budgetary power. So you question the government on any aspects that you deem crucial to the people. What about education? What about health? What about women's status? What about children? And you query and you put conditions. You can also put conditions on the government to take into full consideration, to also insert into the budget with allocations that you would like to wish to see, allocation for women, allocation for school, for, I don't know, for free meals, and then when you are satisfied, then the parliament agrees, to the national budget. But you are not replacing the government in going yourself down and trying to do things that the government is doing. It's impossible. Even if you would like to, you would realize that it is impossible because parliaments are not that big that they could replace governments. And if you want to be both, then we come to a different political system. Yes. So I hope that you understand what I mean. You have the power, and the power is that when you exert the pressure on the adoption of the budget. And in my country, Cambodia, the budget has to be readjusted quite many times within the fiscal year. So you always have the ability during the review of the budget to query. The parliament has the right to convoke the minister. You have the right to convoke the minister. The minister has to answer to you in parliament, in your committee. So therefore, I think you have a lot of powers. You have to be skillful enough in order to solve many issues. Of course, I have said in the spirit of mutual respect. Yes. Now I would like to give the floor to Your Excellency, Madam Speaker. And after you, there would be then Honorable Virginia Annabello, Deputy Cadelicia Fania dos Santos, but also one gentleman there in the back, he also raised a hand. Yes. So please, Madam Speaker.
Thank you for the opportunity. I will ask the questions. I know that we have the direct translation. I will make it in Tetung, so my colleagues maybe can be aware. Hau ia comentário ida, ho perguntas rua. Hau ia comentário kata, ia similaridade Timor-Leste nebe rola parte ia UIP, União Interparlamentar, APCPLP ou AIPA, em matéria de feto, jovens, nomos atividade Cirecelo. Depois de Idané, a minha pergunta para Sua Excelência Secretário-Geral, como é que Camboja, nesse país daqui, com 62 deputados, bele halo gestão bania deputados, rola parte e a plataforma Oi. Em especial ligado à língua, nós apoio os expertise ou expertos sira e a área né. Segunda pergunta, membros da AIPA, de acordo com o Estatuto AIPA, pelo menos máximo 15 pessoas. Entretanto, o Parlamento Timor-Leste ia 8. Tuir e tabot minha experiência para fulfill ou complementa a atividade serene ideal para país fom nebe rola parte tem que complementar. Quantos ideal? E tabot serene 15 também 8 nessa Timor. Muito obrigado.
Yes, thank you, Your Excellency. Cambodia has a bicameral system. What you mentioned is the Senate. We are 62 members. We are half of the membership of the National Assembly, 125. So everything is half. The commissions of the National Assembly would consist of 10 MPs, in the Senate only 5, is half. according to my experiences, Excellency, Madam Speaker, it's not the quantity that determines by the quality of the brain, the quality of the person. Even small countries can be extremely strong. If you look at Singapore case, and I believe that Timor-Leste would not do less. You are a blessed country, you have very strong political institutions, very strong democratic institutions, and it's very good. It's really, for me, a subject of inspiration and respect, admiration. And I mean it sincerely. You could have exchanges of youth with Brunei Darussalam. Brunei is even smaller than Timor-Leste in terms of population. You are more than 1 million. Brunei is only 300,000. So you could have exchange of views with Brunei Darussalam, how they cope, because they are member of ASEAN and of AIPA since the 80s. So therefore, I think that you can cope. If you're less people, to me, it's very simple. One person has to deal with 2-3 issues. You divide among yourselves, and you have staff working for you. So capacity building is the key. What I have observed, why small countries are so competitive, because when we are small, we have to be very flexible, like fish. You have to navigate among currents, because we are small, we have to navigate, otherwise the big, they would trample us to death. They are elephants, so therefore we have to navigate. And one point of navigation among small countries is to be multilingual. When you look at Switzerland, you look at Sweden, you look at Cambodia, you look at Singapore, we are multilingual. Because when you are multilingual, you are much more flexible and agile to deal with the world. So, like in Switzerland, they speak French, English, Italian, German. Cambodia, we speak Khmer, Chinese, English, and also other languages. Singapore, English, Chinese, Malay, Bahasa Indonesia. So I think Timor-Leste, Portuguese, your own language from the old tradition, and also English is coming. So therefore you are very strong, because you are not English speaking, but you have also Portuguese behind you. And when you speak Portuguese, you can understand French, you can understand Spanish and Italian. So therefore, I think it opens a lot of doors to Timor-Leste, and with the bless of natural resources that you have, you can touch and you have in your hands, you can do many things beautiful. And the only point is that we have to look very far. I am saying so because our planet, I'm sorry to say so, our planet is dying. You see ice melting. And when there's no more ice, there's no more water. You see oceans dying. So many things die out. So when you are still green and your water is still clear, you have to take care of them. And not think of your children, but of your great children, so that your country stay blessed by God, if I may say. So this is my personal view. I'm 67, so I would like to see that for my grandchildren, grandchildren to be able to visit Timor-Leste and to see, oh, this is something we have not seen elsewhere, only in Timor-Leste. Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the other, have I answered everything, Excellency? Yes. I think those who have Deputy Virginia Annabello and Deputy Cadelicia Fania Dal Santos, your question, and gentleman behind, I don't know his name. Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. My respect to the Secretary General of the AIPA, Your Excellency, and all members of the delegation. Thank you for the presentation. Once again, welcome to Timor-Leste. First, I would like to focus on the meetings within AIPA, especially regarding advisory discussion on drugs-related issues. at this poses at serious danger to the future of young people, I think. Although the number of cases in the Timor-Leste is not yet high, but it reminds a concern because Timor-Leste admission as the member of ASEAN will also open pathway and opportunities that may facilitate the entry of the drugs into the country more easily. My question, what strategies does AIPA propose for the Parliament of Timor-Leste to anticipate and address this issue? Second question. Second, in view of Timor-Leste recent as the member state of ASEAN, what specific support could AIPA provide to the National Parliament of Timor-Leste in the context of its transition to full AIPA membership and the digital modernization of its work? And last, what are the strategy priorities that the AIPA Secretary intends to bring forward for this discussion at the forthcoming General Assembly? Thank you.
Thank you. What is the first question?
This is AIPA court meeting. This will open pathway for Timor-Leste to anticipate this issue. How Timor-Leste to anticipate this issue?
The first question was about AIPA court on drugs. The next meeting will take place in June. There's no clear date yet. 24th of June, and it would be then done online. So no physical participation, online. So also AIPA Secretariat, we would then participate online. And the issue now is to adopt the amended terms of reference. Because last January, we had a meeting in Jakarta at the ASEAN Secretariat, and we agreed to expand the scope of AIPA Court to AIPA Court Plus. And I think it is a very clever imagination, and it shows ASEAN flexibility and I would say like very sharp-minded, because issues are very sensitive. What issues are sensitive now? You read the newspaper every day, it's about online scamming. It's very big issues, because we do not speak about millions, but about billions of US dollars. Billions. So therefore, it affects ASEAN region also. So we agreed to expand the scope of AIPA Court to AIPA Court and related crimes. But we do not list the crimes because of the sensitivity, but they are there. So AIPA Secretariat, we already have drafted the new terms of reference, the TOR. We have submitted to all AIPA member parliaments, and hopefully the TOR, then the amended one, could be amended and accepted by all AIPA parliaments. Yes. Number two, be assured that AIPA Secretariat is always your life companion. We are always there for you. Whatever you need, you can come to us through communications, the email, WhatsApp is the easiest one. Yes, so we are always there for you. Whatever query, whatever you need from us, we would always be there for you. We are servicing the 11 ASEAN parliaments. But more importantly, of course, we service the chair country. So this year is Philippines, and then next year Singapore. The chair would always tell us about the priorities that we would like to set for the year. Like this year, the Philippines focus on AI, on maritime security, on climate change, women and youth. So you also raised a question about youth. I think the most important aspect now is to help youth cope with modern technology, with digital economy, and more importantly, with artificial intelligence. It is evolving very fast. It does not wait for you. You have to run. You have to catch up with digital economy. You have to run and catch up with artificial intelligence because they don't wait for you. It evolves so fast. And if you do not catch up, then, it's very dangerous because we are living in a very dangerous world. Yes. Have I answered all the questions? There are so many on my list now. Next would be 20 minutes left. So who would be the one gentleman, because there are so many ladies, maybe could we give the chance to one gentleman at least? Yes, please, and please, Honorable Kadelicia Vanya Santos, he's a man?
Yes, no, she's a woman.
Oh, what about men? You don't, gender is also about men, not only women, we need both. Please, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Her Excellency, Madam Speaker Maria Fernanda Lai, Your Excellency, Honorable Secretary General of the Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, Dr. Chen Widya, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saul Salvador Haji Amaral, as a member of the Parliament, and also I am as a member of the AIPA Timor-Leste. First of all, I would like to express our sincere appreciation and warm welcome for the Secretary General of the Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly for visiting the National Parliament of Timor-Leste today. This visit is a great honor for us and reflects the growing relationship between Timor-Leste and the Asian parliamentary community. Today's briefing is very important for us to gain a deeper understanding of the rule, vision, and cooperation promoted by Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, strengthening parliamentary diplomacy in Southeast Asia. Through this valuable exchange of ideas and information, we are able to broaden our knowledge on how Parliament can contribute to peace, stability, economic development, and the welfare of our people in the region. As a nation that continues to strengthen regional cooperation, Timor-Leste highlights values its engagement with the Asian and ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly. We believe that dialogue, solidarity, and mutual understanding among Parliament are essential foundation for addressing today. As global challenges, including technological development, climate change, regional security, and youth development. We also hope that this visit will further strengthen friendship and cooperation between the National Parliament of Timor-Leste and the Parliament of Asian Member States. Through continued communication and collaboration, we can work together to build a peaceful, inclusive, and prosperous region for all. Finally, we would like to thank the Secretary General of the Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly for this meaningful briefing and visit. May the strong relationship between Timor-Leste and Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly continue to grow in the future. In the end, I have several questions. My question is slightly beyond the scope of the executive briefing of Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly. My question is slightly beyond the scope of the executive briefing of Asian Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, but it is related to the conflict in Myanmar. Because as a parliamentarians, our responsibility is to voice the concern and aspiration of the people. So my question is, one, what concrete action can AIPA take to support peace and national reconciliation in Myanmar? Second, how can AIPA strengthen the implementation of Asian 5-point consensus to stop violence in Myanmar? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your kind words. I would like to give a short answer to Madam Honorable before you. I forgot about the strategic plan. AIPA already has a strategic plan, 2023-2030. We would then give a copy to you, Madam Honorable, so that you have a look. And Timor-Leste then would contribute to the next strategic plan after 2030. So feel free to put your contribution to the next strategic plan, and we would then decide together. On Myanmar and the 5-point consensus, as I said, AIPA cannot exist outside of ASEAN. We are the two sides of ASEAN. One side is ASEAN as such, head of state and government, ministers, more importantly in this case the foreign ministers of ASEAN, and the other side is AIPA. But AIPA cannot take any decision that would contradict the decision taken by ASEAN. So what I can inform you at this stage to reassure you is that there's no formal recognition of the latest elections in Myanmar. But it does not mean that ASEAN does not move. And ASEAN is not a supranational organization like the EU. We are an association of sovereign states. So foreign policy, we do not have joint ASEAN foreign policy. Foreign policy belongs to the sovereign decision of the ASEAN member states. From the news that we see, Thailand is quoting Myanmar very much. Visited Naypyidaw, talked to people in power there, etc., etc., etc. And recently, after the elections of Min Aung Hlaing, General Min Aung Hlaing, to the new president of Myanmar, the release of political prisoners, I think many hundreds of prisoners have been released, and more importantly also the release of Aung San Suu Kyi from prison to residence, assigned to residence, and also reducing the verdict on her from plus 30 years to now 18 years, if I remember, a reduction to 18 years. It's still a lot because she's nearly 80 years old. But still the movement is there, and from what I can feel is that some ASEAN member states, they try to take into account, you know, the change on the situation, and to act accordingly. So up to now, at ASEAN meetings, in particular ministers and summit level, political representation is not allowed. So it means that ministers would not be invited, and for the summit, the head of state of Myanmar would not be invited, but instead, ASEAN would invite the senior most civil servant serving. So it means permanent secretary, Secretary General of the government, Secretary General of Parliament, so that they can observe the meeting. And it is the best solution, because if you exclude totally the country from listening, then it would be not in favor of ASEAN, because we want everybody to be well informed of the process. Yes. So now I think there are still 3 on my list, and please be short and only 1 question each, because we are really running behind schedule. We are supposed to end at 12:30, now it's already 12:40. So please, the first is Honorable Kadelicia. Is she left already? Oh, please,
Still
Madam.
here.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity, but my name is Sedelizia, not Cadelizia. Sorry that I'm correct you. Distinguished Secretary General of AIPA and all the delegation, Excellency Madam Speaker of Timor-Leste, Excellency the President of AIPA, the Vice President, and all the members of AIPA, Honorable Member of Parliament, Excellency. Actually, I have a very long list to regarding with my observation and my question, but since you say that I can only raise one question, so I may just go straight to my question. I have actually 4 questions here. First, regarding with the value-add tax or VAT and consumption taxes. How should the introduction of VAT in Timor-Leste be coordinated with the regional standard to avoid double taxation and ensure export competitiveness? Second, regarding with the capacity building and technical training. Through your presentation, you already mentioned AIPA has already provided several capacity building in various areas. But my question, is there a dedicated technical exchange program for parliamentary finance officials focusing on budget impact analysis of regional norms? Next will be the relating with CPLP or Community of Portuguese Language Country. Given Timor-Leste's unique position as a member of the Community of Portuguese Language Country, or we make it short as CPLP, and its ongoing integration into ASEAN, how does AIPA view the potential role of Timor-Leste as a strategic bridge for strengthening diplomatic, economic, cultural, and institutional cooperation between the CPLP and ASEAN region? The last one, my question is related with the special fund that you have mentioned through your presentation, but I'm still confused. You said that 5,000 amount we need to pay annually, or we need to pay only once as a full member of the AIPA. So I'm still confusing. I'm really clear about the 45,000, but my question is still confusing about that 5,000. Should we pay it annually, or we can pay once upon our become a full member of AIPA? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Taxation or the prerogative of national sovereignties. I don't think that AIPA deals with taxation issues. You deal in your national capacity as parliament, and taxation is a very complex authority. If you put too much tax, then you lose competitiveness. If you put too low, the state has no income. So each country has to navigate, and the smaller you are, the more agile you should be. And from what I have witnessed in history is that smaller countries, they try to attract investors through low taxation. Because if you put high taxation, FDI will not come. But it's, as I said, it's a very fluid, and you see what President Trump has done with his tax policy. He adds 10%, 40%, 125%, 200%, but the US is the biggest economy. So we small countries, we have to be very careful to be agile, as I said, and to be competitive. Because when you are small, our philosophy, when Cambodia joined ASEAN in 1999, our GDP per head was only $288 per head. When Timor-Leste joined last year, it's 1,234 or 334. Imagine Cambodia 200 and you 1,300 something. So we have to run faster than the old members. This is our philosophy. When you come late, you have to catch up. Very easy. And I think that you can do that. If Cambodia can do it, if Brunei can do it, Timor-Leste can also do it. You have the resources to do so, and you have to build capacity on a continual basis. Yes. Number 2, your question was about?
Support for the capacity building for Timor-Leste, especially on financing.
Yes. So the capacity building that AIPA could only be of help to you is capacity building for parliamentary work. We cannot delve into capacity that belong to the ministries, because then you have to seek capacity building on a bilateral or multilateral basis outside AIPA, from government to government, or from Timor-Leste to EU, or from Timor-Leste to the World Bank, ADB, or IMF. Yes. Whatever you take decisions, according to me, within the Portuguese community should not contradict and bring harm to ASEAN. This is my advice. If you take decisions in the Portuguese community, because Timor-Leste is member of the Portuguese community, and it is also one reason why one ASEAN member state object to Timor-Leste's membership in ASEAN. Because they used to say you had to choose one, but you cannot have both. But now you have both. You are both in ASEAN, but you are also a member of the Portuguese community. But be careful, because now you are in ASEAN, and ASEAN is more important. ASEAN would bring to you much more benefits than other organizations, because it is in your own region, and ASEAN has an excellent network of relations. You have the dialogue partners in ASEAN. AIPA has observer parliaments. We have 26. Now 2 are coming, Spain and Serbia. So then will be 28. 2 have expressed interest, South Africa and Romania. So you see that ASEAN and AIPA are attractive and can bring benefits to you. So therefore, don't do anything that would harm ASEAN, even if you're in the Portuguese-speaking community. Yes. So this is my advice. And the third one is about 45,000. The 45,000 is a regular annual exercise. In fact, it's not a special fund. It used to be 40,000, but then AIPA Secretariat, my predecessor, amply demonstrated that this budget line is outdated. It is no more enough for the operation for the AIPA Secretariat. So after long debates and scrutiny, because we also have auditing, ASEAN agreed, in particular 2 ASEAN member states who used to object, finally they agreed to increase by 5,000. So now, instead of 40,000, it's 45,000. But it's nothing, 45,000 for AIPA. The government, they pay every year more than 1 million. So the budget of ASEAN and budget of AIPA is a big difference, like paradise and earth. I live on earth, I don't live in paradise.
So no need to invite the they will attend the dinner.
Oh, okay. So now the other 2 eminent parliamentarians said that they would discuss at dinner, so that we can then close the plenary. I think somebody has to summarize from Timor-Leste. Thank you so much for your kind attention and for your kind patience. It's very kind of you. I would like to beg on your patience. Even the summary has to be very short, because we have a call on the Prime Minister at 2 o'clock already, and we have to run to the hotel and have a quick lunch before going. Thank you so much for your kind understanding.
Chegamos ao final da apresentação do Executive Briefing sobre a AIPA. Convidamos respeitosamente Sua Excelência, Presidente do Grupo Nacional da AIPA, Timor-Leste, distinta deputada Maria Golomari Baleto, para proceder ao encerramento do programa.
Your Excellencies, Ms. Maria Fernanda Lai, President of the National Parliament of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Your Excellency Dr. Chem Widya, Secretary General of the ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly, honorable members of Parliament, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude today's parliamentary briefing, allow me on behalf of the AIPA Timor-Leste National Group and the National Parliament of Timor-Leste to express our sincere appreciation to His Excellency Secretary General of AIPA and AIPA Secretariat for this meaningful, productive, and forward-looking visit to Timor-Leste. Today's discussion have further strengthened the close and growing relationship between Timor-Leste and AIPA and reaffirm our shared commitment to parliamentary cooperation, regional dialogue, and ASEAN community building. This visit is particularly significant as Timor-Leste continues advancing towards full integration into the ASEAN family. In this regard, parliamentary engagement remains an important pillar in strengthening regional understanding, institutional preparedness, and people-centered cooperation. We therefore remain committed to continue our constructive engagement with AIPA and to contributing positively, responsibly, and actively to regional parliamentary cooperation in this year ahead. We look forward further in strengthening cooperation with AIPA and all members Parliament in the spirit of partnership, solidarity, mutual respect, and regional unity. In closing, on behalf of the National Group AIPA of Timor-Leste, I would like to thank you for Madam President of the National Parliament, honorable members of the Parliament, His Excellency Deputy Minister for Parliament Affairs, the National Police of Timor-Leste, and all committee organizers for the National Parliament. And thank you very much. And once again, thank you for His Excellency Secretary General of AIPA and also Secretariat delegation from Secretariat AIPA in Indonesia. Thank you and obrigado.
Em nome do Parlamento Nacional de Timor-Leste, agradecemos sinceramente a honrosa presença de todos e desejamos uma excelente continuação de bom trabalho e uma boa tarde. Muito obrigada.
Ouvintes no telespectador Rádio e Televisão Parlamento Nacional, e da NEMA que se samba da Ikusniang, liu te husi apresentação, husi secretariado AIPA, com a visão geral, estrutura institucional, AIPA, história de relações AIPA e Timor-Leste. Foi a apresentação do secretariado AIPA com a reunião AIPA na apresentação do secretariado AIPA com a projetos, iniciativas AIPA, no resposta, perguntas ou resposta. Foi encerramento, discurso de encerramento com a Maria Gurmali Barreto, no presidente do Grupo Nacional AIPA Timor-Leste. Biak ouvintes ida nema ka rohmbane nini transmissão direta husi YouTube RTPN nomos frekuensi 92.9 MHz. Hau equipa na mag serviço, ato obrigado ai.